Protect yourself and your family from unexpected challenges. Consider accident-only income protection. Click the link in the description to find out more.
You want anything bad enough? Don't make excuses. You gotta lose your time and your sleep for it. You find a way.
Boxing King Media in association with SaveMoreMoney.com. Pauli the Magic Man Malignaggi. I've got to say, Pauli, the first thing I'm noticing is like you look like you're losing weight. Is there a comeback on the go or something?
No comebacks. Just trying to stay healthy lifestyle in my 40s, man. You know.
How much have you lost?
Honestly, I don't step on the scale. I just kind of watch. I just decide I watch my weight a little bit, and whatever happens, happens. I'll even do some extended fasting at times. Maybe I'll go a full day without eating, and then watch my weight after that a little bit. Watch my diet a little bit. Then some days I'll eat a little more. I don't know. Decide like I'm gonna lose some weight. I'll try to bear in mind some stuff, and of course I'll always run like 3 days a week just to keep the consistency. So.
Good stuff, man.
Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not, Plus, this time of year, I'm trying to lose it before maybe possibly gaining it, because Italians like to eat this time of year, So, see.
Don't we
We'll
all,
see.
right? You got any plans for like the Christmas holiday period? Are you doing anything special?
Just gonna probably just be up in New York, hanging out, I'm in Florida now, maybe I'll go to New York for like 10 days or something. I'll see. I'll even see. I don't know if I'll even be up there for the New Year. We'll see. I'll decide if I'll stay up there for the New Year or not, because it's gonna be a busy year with Pro Box this year, so we'll just be doing some stuff, a lot of stuff with Pro Box TV. We're growing. So I think it's gonna be a sort of a benchmark year for the company. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, urge the fans, if you're not heard of Pro Box TV on YouTube, and it's an app in the US, they put on actually 50-50 fights like every week.
Yeah. And you know what? My boss has said, Gary Jonas has said that he wants to go strictly with the app soon, because he feels like people, when they see it free on YouTube, they sort of look at it like it's not quality. But meantime, we have quality. We have a lot of quality at ProBox, it's just so, and the app is going to be free anyway. So it's just a matter of downloading it, and getting everything there, So I think, maybe a few more months it'll be on YouTube, but then it'll be on the app only, but it'll be free either way. At least that's the plan.
Well,
But
the production value is amazing. I got to see it firsthand a few months ago. So, Pauli, a lot's happened in the boxing world, and a lot's about to happen. I want to quickly touch on Sonny Edward versus Jesse Rodriguez. I know we spoke a week or so before the fight, and you was mega excited for it because we spoke and we said it was two great boxing minds taking on each other. So, I think the question I've got for you is, I know you slightly edged towards Jesse in the final moments, but were you 100% certain? And what did you make of the fight, especially in the first half?
I think the issue I had with Sonny was he's not the strongest guy, but he's willing to engage with you. He's willing to fight with you, and he's gotten away with it thus far. But I said to myself, if he's going to do that against Bam, it's going to cost him, because Bam is a little bit shorter with the punches, and of course he's stronger punching with the punching power as well. So I felt like if Sonny was going to beat Bam, he was going to have to stay completely disciplined, because there's always moments where Sonny, he makes it fun. It's what makes him fun to watch. He boxes well, but he'll get in there and kind of, throw some bigger combinations, put himself in position to even be hit here and there, And I felt like because Bam is so precise and so compact and so tight on both with his punches and his defensive moves, I felt like that might cost Sonny if he doesn't fight a very disciplined fight. And, that's what ended up happening. Bam won the position game, the tighter punches game, the controlling the ring, the game controlling the ring. They fought the fight Bam wanted to fight, and Sonny really just was forced to fight that fight. And Sonny did well in some spots, but they were fighting the fight Bam wanted to fight. And ultimately, the guy who decides what kind of fight is fought has a big advantage in the fight, and that's how it turned out.
I looked at the scorecards. I think one judge had Sonny ahead after 6, one had Bam ahead, and I think one had it a draw after 6. So up until that moment, there wasn't much to split them. What do you think changed in round 5, 6 to kind of?
I just think Sonny had to work harder in the first half. It was close, but I think Sonny had to expend a bigger gas tank in the first half. Again, I felt like Bam was a little bit shorter and tighter with everything. So everything he was doing, it was a little bit more concise and compact. While Sonny, because it wasn't as tight and compact, was burning a little bit more energy. And the fight was competitive, but at the same time, you could sort of see you know, Sonny was revving it in fifth gear, while Bam was revving it in, like, say, third gear, you know, and ultimately in the second half of the fight, that's how you could see that's how it ended up playing out.
The ending obviously has been a big talking point. You know, Sonny's took some hammer online because obviously he's in the past talked about, I think, Daniel Dubois and some other fighters. And to be fair to him, he's took the flak and he said, just give me whatever you want to give me. But what did you make of the ending of the fight and the way, you know, the closing moments when, you know, his trainer Grant Smith waved it off?
I mean, I didn't have a problem with it. I think he'd been beaten into submission. You know, I don't think he had any more energy left. I don't think he had any more wind left. I think he fought till all the energy that he had. You know, that last knockdown, um, he's basically trying to throw a counter left hand in after Bam's jab, and Bam beats him to the punch with the left hand. They throw the sharp one too, and you could kind of see it was a microcosm of the fight where Bam's punching shorter and tighter, and it's having and it's having the advantage over Sonny, who is quick, but he's a little bit wider with his shots, you know, and that right there kind of told you, especially as you get more fatigued, now you're naturally wider, you're going to get even slower. And that shot really basically told the story in a microcosm of the fight. I thought it was a good stoppage. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, he got beaten um, until he couldn't fight anymore. You know, I thought Sonny gave it everything he could, and I thought Sonny, especially in the first half of the fight, really gave a good account of himself, even though, as I said, I felt he was burning too much in this first half of the fight. I kind of saw the second half of the fight going that way as I saw the pace of the first half of the fight for him.
And just talking on that, the moments where you said he was willing to trade with him, even though there was the difference in punch power, etc. And obviously fans question, you know, your manhood, saying, "Oh, you quit" and all that kind of stuff. But when a fighter's in there in them last 2, 3 rounds, willing to trade with Jesse Rodriguez, clearly the bigger puncher, surely that says a bit, don't it? And do people kind of
Yeah,
forget
yeah,
that?
because you've got to either make a decision if you're going to quit right there, if you're going to try and trade and fight him off of you, you know. And Sonny tried to fight him off of you, and there was no doubt Sonny was going to do that, you know. Like at a certain point, when you're spent, you can either go out of the fight right there, or you can give it one last go and say, let me try to fight this guy off of me, and maybe I'll gain some moments back. And so I felt like Sonny tried to do that, but also in those tight quarters, Bam was going to the body with some good shots, man. I mean, Bam, and that wasn't helping Sonny's cause with his wind either. You know, that was a tough situation.
Thank you for that, man. So it was a good fight, and hopefully both can go on to do more
Yeah.
good things. Big show this weekend, Day of Reckoning. I'll talk about the three main fights on the card. We'll start with Gerald Miller, Daniel Dubois. For me, it's probably one of the most exciting fights on there because there's so much intrigue about it.
Yeah.
What do you make of it? Because initially, just tell me a little
I
bit
think
about.
I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting because I don't get the odds on that one, man. The odds are pretty heavily favoring Dubois, but Jarrell brings a pace, and Dubois has kind of shown a bit of quit in him every time he's uncomfortable, you know. Um, so I mean, and Jarrell kind of fights that kind of fight where he makes you uncomfortable with the pace that he brings and the size that he brings. The only thing is Jarrell has no head movement, so Dubois' power can be a difference maker if Dubois has the vaunted power that he's given credit for. You know, I think it's gonna come to a head here with this fight. You know, but the fact that Jarrell is such an underdog, I mean, I know some friends in New York who are betting pretty heavy on him because they can't believe the odds they're getting on him in a fight like this where Dubois is kind of still unproven at this level when at a level where you can be uncomfortable. So I think it's the most intriguing fight of the night because it's hard to really definitively pick a winner and feel comfortable with it.
So if you had to pick a winner, Gerald, obviously you've seen this week he's been outspoken. He's been putting it on AJ. He's been bumping into him. Have you seen the video of him in the hotel lobby?
Yeah. I mean, I guess if I had to pick a winner, listen, I'm from Brooklyn. I kind of probably would edge to maybe I'm a little bit more favoritism towards my hometown, but I think Jarrell probably might be favored in there. Again, there's also question marks about the lack of head movement and if Dubois' big power is going to get him out of there, right? But at the same time, if Dubois is not able to get him out of there, and there's a pace coming at him that Jarrell brings, Dubois, you know, he's shown that he doesn't really like to handle being uncomfortable. So I don't know. I'll edge it to Jarrell slightly.
We've got the chief support, which sounds crazy even saying that. Deontay Wilder versus Joseph Parker. When did you ever think you'd hear them two names as chief support?
Yeah, well, when Anthony Joshua is the main event, right?
It's bonkers,
So
isn't it?
that side of the world is Anthony Joshua territory, you know. Yeah, I listen. It's I guess there's rumors about AJ and Wilder being made, so I guess they want to kind of showcased them on the same card. But these are not gimme fights. Listen, Parker is an ex-world champion who still has some pride, and he's a technically gifted fighter, So, and Wilder's sharp with his jab and his 1-2, but otherwise he's not as technically gifted as Parker. It makes you wonder if Parker wants it bad enough. I think Parker can make Wilder's life a little bit miserable in that, and from a technical aspect. But otherwise, you'd expect Wilder, if he lands that 1-2, it's over. And Wallin with Joshua, that's an interesting one because I don't think Joshua has looked great in a while. And Wallin he specializes in making you look bad. Wallin still needs that key win, though. He needs a win where he's not just the guy who makes you look bad, but he's also a guy who can win at this level. So this is a big fight for him. It's a big moment for him. Obviously, it's a big moment for AJ if they're going to make the Wilder in. It's a big moment for Wallin because Wallin is the kind of guy who just makes you look bad. But this is actually an opportunity, being that Joshua is not coming in with the most momentum, where you can go from a guy that just makes you look bad to actually a guy who can win at this level, and that's big. I think Wallin is a capable guy, plus left-handed. Interesting. I also don't know if Joshua is getting ready to fight Wilder, or if he wants to fight Wilder. I don't know why he would even fight a left-hander in the fight before that, but that's neither here nor there. At this point, the fight's happening, right? I guess they got to make it a marketable card. And I think it's a cool card. I even like the fact that Dimitri Bivol is coming back, because I think politically he's been kind of put on the shelf through no fault of his own, and I think that's unfair to a fighter who had such a great year in 2022. So it's nice to see him back. Ergovic as well. Filip Ergovic, I think, is on the card as well, right? Am I right? Filip Ergovic is on the card, and he's he also became the #1 contender, beating Zhang, and then Zhang got the more momentum by beating Joe Joyce twice after that, and Zhang has everybody talking about it, and Ergovic is just forgotten. I don't think that's fair either. So I like that these kind of guys are also getting on this show, like Ergovic and Bivol, because I think they deserve it as well.
Jay Apataya.
Apataya, yeah, exactly. So you've got guys who are getting a chance to kind of be on the show. It's a nice show. It's a nice card.
Aslanbek Makhmudov. These fights just keep going. There's like 7 minutes on there.
Well, the Saudis, man, if anybody can afford the big fights you want to watch and it's hard to make, the Saudis can. So if they keep their involvement in boxing, I think we can see a lot more big time boxing going to Saudi Arabia, and also fights that we may not be able to make actually get made. But these people have the power over there to make these fights and to do this and to really, really push boxing to another level.
One key, you as a former fighter, you're going to know this. Wilder's done 1 round or 2 minutes in 2 years. Parker's had 4 or 5 fights, I think, in that period, and a lot of rounds. Is that going to make any kind of difference, or does it not matter? Because
I think it could. It all depends on the hunger Parker has. If this Parker really wants this, if Parker still really wants this, listen, I think he can make Wilder's life miserable. If Parker is kind of like, I'm just here for the payday and whatever happens, then yeah, he'll get caught with the 1-2 for sure, and he probably won't be able to resist it. But if he's really determined to win the fight and really determined to gung ho get this victory, where he's disciplined and he's fighting focused for 3 minutes of every round, he can give a lot of problems to Wilder, because he's technically better than Parker on the overall boxing skills.
Pick a winner if you had to.
I mean, I'd probably go for Wilder catching him. I can't, at the age Parker's at, I don't know. I can't know for sure if he's hungry, but typically at that age, you're typically just showing up for paydays and, giving it the effort, but not like when you were young, when you were willing to go through fire. And I think Wilder gets him out of there. I think Wilder wins.
Joshua Wallin, obviously you've highlighted again that Wallin potential banana skin opponent, and a lot of people have in the boxing circuit have said to me, expect an upset in this fight. Wallin could do this. So I think we've got to make sure if AJ does blow him away in a few rounds, he's got to get the credit, because I think
absolutely,
because I get the
feeling, but at the same time,
Wallin's beat no one.
I don't think Wilder decision, even if he does win. Let's say if it goes a distance, I mean, they want to make Wilder and Joshua so bad that I don't think Wallin could get a decision anyway. I think Wallin would have to stop Joshua to get a decision. Sort of reminds me of the Bernard Hopkins and Oscar La Hoya when they were on the same show, and then Oscar La Hoya had to rob Felix Sturm in order for that fight to happen. I think it's this kind of show reminds me of that. Hopefully there's no weird decisions and everybody is deserving of their victory. But that's always the risk when you do this kind of thing, because the opponents they have are not gimme opponents.
Pick a winner in that if you had to pick one.
Again, it's hard to pick against AJ. It's hard to pick because even if it was to be close, I think it would go his way. Just interesting though, because I want to see how much Wallin is willing to go for it. Probably knowing what I'm saying as well, that he can't get a decision. Is Wallin willing to put himself on the line in order to try to stop AJ? It should be interesting.
Last thing on that, did you watch Anthony Joshua's interview today, which has gone viral on Twitter, where he gave very short answers He was interviewed by Dev from Queensbury Promotions and just talking about the event, and he was very blunt. He just looked like he was focused. It's gone viral online, but obviously if you're not seeing it, it don't really
Yeah, I
matter.
mean it's the focus, Joshua, that you want to see. It's just hard at this age, man. When you get to that age and you've made a lot of money and you're in the latter part of your career, it's hard to get that killer the way you were before. You can, I mean, you're still a fighter. You'll always be a fighter, but I mean, I don't know, man. It's hard to get that same killer in you, man. Especially when they're paying you this a lot much money for these fights too. But we'll see, we'll see. I'd love to see, a great show, and I think the card is going to be phenomenal. I think it's and you know what's cool. You never get big time boxing this late in the year, but this year is kind of cool because you have this card on the 23rd, and then you got Naoya Inoue on the 26th as well. So it's a cool time of the year, man. Because usually boxing is done for until the new year at this point, but instead we've still got a few shows left, a couple of shows at least.
Yeah, I think brilliant analysis as always, and appreciate you giving me some of your time. But I want to also quickly talk about the fact that I don't fans won't know this, but it's 26 years this week to the day you decided that you want to become a boxer. It was
Yeah,
you went to the Kevin Kelly Prince Naseem Hamed fight at the Garden, and you
Mhm.
basically decided walking out, I want to do this. And
yeah,
today sit there as a former world champion,
yeah.
retired,
I
and
mean,
financially done.
yeah, yeah. I was telling you before we started recording. I wish I could feel that feeling just for a few seconds, because
Describe
it
that
was
feeling.
such a.
What was that
I
feeling?
was I was in such a haze. I was in such a cloud of like. I mean, that train ride home from the Garden was like a haze for me. It was like an out of body experience, Like I was just like in my own thoughts, like just reimagining everything I just saw, replay everything and just like, kind of seeing myself and just telling myself, I've got to do this. I've got to feel this. This is unbelievable. Like I've been boxing 6 months already. I didn't have a fight. I had been training hard. I had been sparring. I didn't know how good I was going to be. And I didn't really know if I was even going to take it that seriously yet. I was getting ready for a New York Golden Gloves tournament already, but I didn't really know. But leaving that Garden, I was like, this is what it is. I mean, this is what you do this for. This is the dream. This is, like this is what the reason you do this. If you do this, this is what you get. This is what you can have. This is what you can achieve. This is everything. I mean, at a time in my life where I didn't have a lot going on, and and there was a lot of internal problems for me. That was just that train ride home and just going to bed that night on my grandma's couch, because I don't even have my own room. It was in my grandma's house. I just sleep on the couch, and I wasn't even living at home with my mother anymore. And it was just like I was in a different world, man. I was like, I'd say I went to the gym on Monday, that Monday, that, with a different feeling, the different, always focused, always training hard. But now, with this, like this, and everybody's talking about the fight Monday at the gym too. So you can't escape it. It's Monday in the gym. It's like being at school when there's a big game over the weekend, the gym is like school, and everybody's just talking about it. Everybody, it was, what a show. I mean, what a show. If it wasn't that dramatic of a fight, who knows what I would have thought to myself, or if I would have had that feeling inside that stayed with me, that I bottled up and kept it with me the entire time. Like that's the goal. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to feel for myself. Like I don't know. I don't know. I can't even words can't even do it justice, man. What a night, man. What a crazy night. What a crazy
Absolutely.
night.
It was 26 years ago, which isn't that long. In them 26 years, you've made a
It's a quarter
career.
century, man. It's kind of long.
No, but you
It's
look what you've done.
crazy.
World titles,
Yeah.
financially sorted. You've got properties
Yeah,
all
yeah,
over the
I'm
States, and
good. I mean, I had a my own boxing career, and it was cool. Like, and we all have heroes we look up to. Obviously, Toro Gotti was always my favorite fighter, but Nas was always one of those guys that was just eye catching, and you couldn't ignore him. You just couldn't ignore him, and he made me a fan that night, because that night I went to root for Kevin Kelly because I knew him. He was in the training in Gleason's. He was in New York. He had been so nice to me as well. Like I'm a nobody in the gym, and to this day I'm still friends with Kevin. But I mean, Nas gave you a different perspective on what superstar boxing is. I mean, it was like nothing else before. I mean, it was like and it was, mind you, it's the first professional boxing match I ever attended. So that's my first impression of what pro boxing is, which is not always the case for a lot of people. But it was almost like it had to hit me like that. It was like, if you're gonna get your first experience in pro boxing, and I tell you, not a lot of people's first pro boxing isn't that good. That is orgasmic for a first pro boxing experience. You know, it was just a different feeling, and that's
It's
it.
worth
I mean,
mentioning, and I want the fans to know this because obviously you've told me before that you've got yourself 2 original posters from that event, which you
yeah,
which
yeah,
you uncovered
yeah, yeah.
from an old subway train, and they were
From one of the old
two-
trains, man. Because I have a friend of mine. He works in the MTA, in the which is a Metropolitan Transit Association, or Metropolitan Transit Authority, in New York City, and some of the old trains are in the junkyard. And the old trains, they have the old billboards in the train still. And he found 2 of them, man. 2 of the old posters, man. I can't believe it. I can't believe it, dude. You know what I mean? They were still inside the trains. And he gave them to me. And he's like, I figure you want. I'm like, bro, are you kidding me? I remember riding the train when these were on the train. These were all over the train, everywhere. There was such a big money push behind Nas's American debut. It was unbelievable, man. It was unbelievable. When you think about it, like, not even American boxers get that kind of thing, man. I mean, it was like this guy came from across the pond. I mean, I fought Amir in his American debut. I'm telling you, it wasn't like that for Amir. Like, I mean, listen, he came with a big
mad,
push
isn't
too.
it? Because it's quite
But
interesting
I'm
to think that.
with Nas had a billboard on top of the Holland Tunnel, man. Nas had a billboards in the MTA and the trains all over the buses. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, I was seeing these every day, you know, taking the train to the gym every day, you know, even building up to the fight, you know, like because I was still training every day, you know. Oh man, it was, dude, you're just bringing me back. I'm just visualizing all the things I've seen from
Something
those
that's
days. And
mad,
it's,
Pauli. I've just kind of picked up on it. So Nas was like the first British Muslim boxer to kind of make it in America, and then
yeah. I mean, British
and
Muslim, yeah, because I mean, Ali was always a big Muslim, but yeah, I mean, British Muslim,
like British Muslim, and then
absolutely. I don't think there had
that,
been. I mean,
the fact that Nas
listen, make it an
inspired me.
American in general, because
Yeah.
think about it. Before Nas was the Lennox Lewis, but before that, I mean, Gerald McClellan and Eubank hadn't really come over to the U.S. much. So I mean, it's British in general. I mean, for British in general was not a big invasion, with the exception of Lennox. And then Nas, as a small guy, he changed the payout for the smaller fighters as well, because they weren't getting paid like that before. Now they get paid like that. Like featherweights, you know, you get a big enough name for you get paid like that. And before Nas, they weren't getting paid like that.
What's the chance that the next British Muslim that was able to go to America and make a name for himself was Amir Khan, and his first fight was against the guy inspired by the one before him? You couldn't make it up.
They basically did the same thing. I think they took the playbook, the plan that was done at that time by Frank Warren and HBO, and because HBO showed me versus Amir as well. So I think they took the same playbook and said, you know what, we can recycle this playbook. We can use it again. You know, you got a fast talking hotshot New Yorker who's an ex-world champion, and you've got the British Muslim with a big push behind him. You know, Nas wasn't an Olympian, but he was a super showman, a super charismatic guy. I don't know if Amir had the showmanship and charisma, but he had an Olympic silver medal, so it was big. You know, it was big. It was a big push. And Amir wasn't a shy guy himself. It wasn't like he was without charisma, but you know, to match Nas in charisma is almost impossible. You know, but still, I think they tried to use the same playbook. You know, but we didn't use the big garden. We were in the small garden. We were in the theater. Nas and Kevin were in the big garden.
Yeah. You're still the garden man, and you still you got a brilliant career out of it. So I just wanted to let the fans know that story. And it's been a pleasure as always speaking to you, Pauli. And looking forward to Saturday. I think there's definitely gonna be some shocks come Sunday morning.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be a good show, man. And I like I said, I think we're kind of being treated as boxing fans this year. Boxing is never on this late this late in the year, between this big Saudi card and then Hanoi next week. I think it's really cool. It's gonna be really cool.
Well, Pauli, we'll have a catch up after. Thank you for your time, and I'll catch you soon.
All right, brother. Sounds good.
You ever been stranded on the side of a motorway with a broken down car? Like me, is that something that worries you? That's where motor breakdown insurance comes in. If your vehicle breaks down, a trained professional will be sent out to get you back on the road. Or if this is not possible within the specified time frame, to transport you to your home or to the nearest garage.
You want anything bad enough? Don't make excuses. You gotta lose your time and your sleep for it.